Parenting is hard. Few of us feel up to the task. The world is shifting, quickly and dramatically. All of us feel the changes affecting our families. The stress and pressure can be intense. We are here to help sort the good and the bad, provide insight, and bring hope. Welcome to Brilliantly Brave Parenting. We're so glad you stopped by.
I'm Pastor Brad Matthias. I want to welcome you to Brilliantly Brave Parenting.
And I'm Robert, and it's good to be here. Just to continue the conversation.
Oh, I knew it.
To continue the conversation we had just before we came on and started recording, Brad, you were saying you shave your legs, but how many times a week do you shave your legs? Like, seriously. Is it like every day or just every other day?
When you get to be my age, the socks rub the hair right off, so it doesn't matter. You don't have to shave anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Haven't you noticed?
No, I haven't. I just found that
That's
intriguing.
because you wear those funny, weird design socks, and I wear wool socks because I live in Maine where it's cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you say.
Anyway, we were talking about apples and oranges, right? Earlier.
We're talking about Mac versus PC, and we're curious. Leave a comment in our on wherever you find this, and let us know if you are a Mac lover or a PC lover. I, along with anyone that I don't even know what to call it. It's just a different kind of state of mind.
Careful.
Including our guests.
Careful.
Are Mac users, and Brad will not let go of his Android device or his PC. So I'm curious of our listeners out there, who is with me and who is left behind with Brad. So just leave a comment there.
I just want to make sure I'm hearing this right before we go on. You're saying that there are more people who use Macs. That is the popular way to go. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying the preferred.
Preferred.
I'm not saying there's more people. I'm just saying experience.
Well, see, Jesus taught me that narrow is the gate, right?
Okay, well, that would be Mac then, because there's...
No, I think you're playing both sides now.
No.
I think that I'm being persecuted because of my faith, and I think you are in a cult. So, there you go.
Well, if I'm in a cult, so is our guest. I'm really excited.
Oh, no, just you. I didn't say anything about our guest. You're the weird one. She's fine. Well, I think there's a point, right, in the whole cultural, we're sort of playing this out, and we're only half kidding. There is always this sort of push from culture, right, into the church.
Mm-hmm.
The values of our culture definitely influence us. Whether you're a Mac or a Droid person, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, our culture demands that we polarize, that we take a side and fight the other one. And one of the places that God's put on our hearts as a podcast is to provide a platform for Christians who are trying to make a difference and are not being baited into a cultural debate. So,
very true.
Yeah. Today, we have a very special guest. Her name is Jessica Smartt, and she is a blogger. She's an author and a homeschool mom. She was a former teacher. She's been on the Huffington Post. She's written an ebook, How to Introduce Your Child to Jesus. And she's also the author of Memory Making Mom. And we want to welcome her to Brilliantly Brave Parenting.
Hey there.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here.
It's great to have you.
I have a Mac, but I don't have a Mac tattoo. So,
well, see, you're not in a cult yet. Good for you. There's hope.
Yeah, just to clarify, I don't have a Mac tattoo either. He just pulls that out of his back pocket.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
No,
and I don't shave my legs, so I mean we're even on that.
Okay, now we've gotten everything straight.
Now that we're on level playing field, level footing, welcome to the show. We're glad that you're here.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Tell us a little bit about what led you to write this book that you just put out.
So it was kind of two factors interceding at the same time. The biggest one that most people will probably relate to is just I had this kind of gut feeling that I wasn't making the most of parenting and being a mom. And, we all struggle with parent angst at some point. Am I doing enough? Am I making the most of this? They get old so fast. But we had and I talk about this in the first couple chapters of the book, we had a pretty serious medical scare with one of our kids. And at one point, I'm sitting in the hospital room. He had recovered. At that point, things looked like it was going to be all right. But it was a traumatic day, and just one of those times that really jolts you into, okay, what is happening in our life? Are we really doing what matters? And I just felt so strongly that we were missing something. So it's not that at that very moment I realized, oh, we need family traditions, but slowly it did dawn on me that that solution was traditions, because traditions are the missing link between what we value and how to actually make it happen. Traditions are a way of saying, this is what I value, and every day, every week, every month, every year, whatever, every season, we're going to put something into practice that says this matters. And so I kind of just started doing a research project and talking to people and reading all kinds of books that I could find, and just coming up with like everything from the silly to, what do you do when somebody loses a tooth, to the serious of, how do we teach our kids about faith, and just came up with a lot of different traditions. And around the same time, you mentioned I'm a blogger. I had gotten connected with an agent, and we were just kind of trying to figure out what might be a good book topic. And I had all these fabulous ideas. I was sure we're just going to be these big hits. But he would keep directing me and just saying, we need a positive spin. We've talked enough about the dirty diapers and the sticky floors. We get it that motherhood is hard, but how can we encourage people to go a good direction, in a way that's really motivating and fun? And so kind of all these things combine at the same time. And I realized this is my passion. This is something I'm not like always have been this memory making mom. It was a very like in process thing as I wrote the book to kind of flesh out how moms can do this, how parents can do this. So that's how the book came to be. a long,
awesome.
Convoluted answer.
No, that's really good. And I think, you're so right that we can lose track of our lives are complicated and busy, and life throws all kinds of things our way. And I think traditions are very anchoring, and I think they're something that we as a society don't do a whole lot of anymore. So I'm really glad that you wrote that book. What are some?
You're right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, what are some of the things that like you found yourself doing, or that you kind of noticed that you had been doing, that are those traditions or those memory moments?
You touched on something that I want to point out first.
Sure.
I love how you said noticed that you had already been doing, because there's so much information there for parents, so much pressure. And so I think the idea that, I have to do, not only do I have to make kids be smart and good at athletics and run the household and not forget to pay the bills, but I also have to do this other thing, can be super overwhelming. But I think you're right. A lot of it is we do stuff regularly that our kids love, that they see as a tradition that we don't even realize is. And so I think step one is talking to your kids and saying, what do you love about our family? What are some of your favorite things that we do at Christmas? Or what do you love about vacation? And you'll realize there's a ton of these things you've been doing or that they loved that you just keep it up, So that was one. But we definitely did add a lot, because I tend to be more, just business like, I guess, running the home and trying to just keep everyone alive.
Right.
So I realized that we needed more fun. And so we have added a lot more things that are fun in an intentional way. And I feel like I use this example all the time, but it's so good and just captures a lot of what I'm trying to say. A friend of mine started something that she called Family Day. So you would name it like, we call it Smartt Family Day. And we do this in the spring or summer. So you could start planning it now. And it's just a day that we set aside to celebrate our family. We choose an activity that we've never done before. We rented a boat one time. We went camping one time. Last year we did kayaking, I think. So we picked something fun that we'd all enjoy all together. No extra kids, neighbors. Mom doesn't do a coffee date. The day is about us. We have foods that we love. And then at the end of the day, and my kids are relatively little. I've got 10, 8, and 4. But we do a little award ceremony, and their faces getting these awards, and it's silly stuff like Good Friend Award or Learned How to Ride a Bike Award. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like
recognizing something.
But yes, their faces, it is the most precious thing. And I'll tell you, it took me about 10 seconds to print off the thing. My husband and I hide in a closet somewhere and think of something, but the rewards are incredible. So that's just one example of we do that yearly, and we always will. And it's going to define our family, and it says we're important, we matter, you guys matter.
I love that. So you may not know this, but I wrote a book about Road Trip to Redemption, which was this massive road trip I took with my kids when they were teenagers to Banff, Canada from Tennessee and back. It was about a 7,000-mile trip. And it became sort of this epic event, and road tripping then became our tradition, as you will, as a family.
Did you do it with a camper?
We didn't. We did it with a Honda Pilot and some miles from Hilton. But we did stay in some cabins and things along the way. We definitely did some camping type things. But at the end of the day, we'd never done anything like that as a family. And it really changed the dynamic in our home. And it gave us a reference point. And it started something. It was like a ripple in a lake. What you're describing sounds really similar to that, and really valuable for parents and families to consider doing beyond just the devotion thing or going to church on Wednesday nights or, that sort of structured church-based
somber
stuff.
kind of.
Yeah,
well, it's that quote, they don't care what you know if they don't know you care. And so making the family feel that they matter and they're important and that glue that holds the family together is the vehicle that truth can walk through.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's really good. We had heard one of your quotes from a friend of ours that you can redeem your childhood by making memories with your kids. So that's like a quote to the mom, and it was in your book that you just released. I liked that quote, but I want to know more. Tell me what that means to the.
So that's sort of a rephrasing of it, but certainly that idea is in there. I think I just said, whatever your past is, whether it's, your current past as a parent that you feel like you've just kind of done a subpar job, or that you didn't have those things, that you can rewrite the story and redeem that time. And, I'm going to talk about my agent again, because he just was so influential in this. And he's about, oh gosh, isn't it dangerous to try to say how old people
Yes,
are when
it
you
is.
don't know?
Yeah, don't just be vague.
He's older than me, okay? He's older than me. He's in a different generation than me. And his family today is just beautiful. I mean, they have all these rituals and all this depth and, so many traditions. Well, come to find out, he had a very difficult upbringing. Really very, was just kind of like no parents in the home, very MIA. He says he raised himself. He joked that his only traditions were like cold cereal, at dinner kind of thing. And he rewrote the story. And so I think we bring so much baggage in and think, well, I didn't have an example and we didn't have this and I don't have good relationships with my parents and blah, blah, blah. And the one main thing I wanted to do for parents is to say, you can start over right now. Forget all of that. Right now, this very second today, you're not defined by your choices or your past or your mistakes. You can start right this instant, even if your kids are 19, 17, and 13 or 25. You can start rewriting the story and implement life-giving traditions with whatever people are in your life. I really believe that.
That's really powerful. Mm-hmm. And I think you're exactly right that, one of the things that you said is it doesn't have to be this really complex or, elaborate thing. It's just more about being deliberate. And a lot of times there are things that you're already doing that you just need to kind of maybe isolate and celebrate a little bit more, be a little bit more deliberate and call it something or whatever. And so you can really start anywhere. And it doesn't have to be this bar mitzvah kind of occasion, but it is anchoring. When you create these traditions, I think a lot of other cultures are so much better at this, like with families. I grew up in Africa as a missionary kid, and I can remember just the tribal life. We lived with the Zulu tribe for 4 years, and there were so many rituals and traditions that they practiced. And, I'm not suggesting that we become tribal, but there was something beautiful about that, because there was something stabilizing, and this is who we are as a people, and it's passed down from generation to generation. I know for me, I was a single dad for 8.5 years, and I have 3 daughters, and I had full custody. So it's especially important, I think, for single parents to find something simple and celebrate it. There was a number of things that my daughters and I did, but I was very deliberate about doing that, not because, and I'm not self-congratulating here at all. I had just heard a counselor talk about the importance of stability, especially in you're a single parent. And so trying to find things that you can do that kids count on or kids look forward to, is really critical. And you're just kind of taking that to the next level and saying, like, whether you're a single parent or not, make sure that you're being deliberate about this. And I just think that's such a good idea. What do you like when you're a mom, maybe you're working and you're raising kids or whatever? What would you say to a mom out there? It's like, I don't even know where to start. I don't know what to, what can I do? I don't have the money necessarily to go to Disney or go something like that. What are some other practical tips that you give in your book of ways that we can create memories?
Yeah. Well, I would buy the book first.
That's a good start. Yeah.
I mean, no, seriously, like I'm thinking about it, and I went through and laid out kind of all the categories that I felt were important. Food as a big one,
We've
right?
got a guest behind you.
Hi.
Okay.
Well, here's real life as a mom.
It's awesome.
These two were occupied. Okay, that's fine. Sorry, everybody.
No, that's good. That's actually really good.
Clearly proof that I'm a mom. Okay. Where in the world was I?
You have categories in the book of
yes. Okay. So I laid out kind of a good rubric of ways to think about it that you could say and just jot down, like in each area, I'm going to think of one that I can do over the next year. One food tradition, one faith tradition, one birthday tradition, one relationship tradition, like one-on-one dates, whatever. And I mean, if it's a mom who's, to answer your question, who's seriously overwhelmed, strapped for time, strapped for money, strapped for energy, I would honestly just pick like 3 traditions that you feel like are the biggest bang for your buck over the coming year, and just try to be really faithful to those. Mm-hmm. Like pick something that you just really love for Christmas, for in the summer. I think that it is a good, better, best thing. I think there are certainly some that are really, really important. I really believe strongly in vacations. And, growing up, I think I thought they were excessive or just take it or leave it. But I have realized that those times, you talked about it, Brad, in the car, like getting away from our stuff, away from our, hopefully, devices, change of scenery, just us. Yeah, I think that's one that I would really try to, even if you had to scrimp and save and just make it a long weekend. And, I would prioritize that. I mean, church is a tradition. And I think that's one you already have probably, but if not, I would certainly do that. So I would just try to pick a couple that are really, really you feel you believe in, and then just pray for the strength to implement those faithfully.
Yeah, I noticed in some of your information about your ministry, you mentioned a couple of things. One is you're really passionate about helping moms detach from the ever-present lure of technology, which can feel way more fun than parenting. Tell me about that.
I mean, I'm sure that if most moms who are listening are probably already nodding, because it's just, I envy our parents. I envy my dad when he came home. He didn't have emails sitting next to him in the bed. It was, if the boss called, he stepped out in the other room and did it. But then when he went to bed, he went to bed. And for my mom, she had to talk on the phone with a cord wrapped around her if she wanted to, connect with someone. And we've got it at every second. And I think it is one of the biggest issues facing parents and kids today. And I don't think we see it for what it is. And I'm not preaching this as, I've, achieved success in this. But I see what it is. I see that we are going to look back, I believe, and really regret that we've been staring at screens and not faces. And so implementing rituals to disconnect is huge. And I can give you a couple examples of those. I think that on Sundays, it should be a no tech day. We're approaching, as we record this, we're approaching the Easter season. I was just writing somewhere, I think for Holy Week, detach, no tech. I mean, we got to do certain stuff that we got to do, but excessive extra stuff. So just implementing ways in our day, in our week, in our times of the year to detach from that technology. I mean, I just think it's huge. And we're setting an example for our kids in what we're doing. And one day it's going to be them with the phone, So
Yeah, it's very
anyway.
true. One of the other things that I read that you have focused on is helping moms get away or recover from worry. I know that is a very prevalent issue that moms, dads too. But talk to us a little bit about your journey in that regard and what you do to help women recover from that.
Well, I mean, I feel like it will be a lifelong struggle for me, and I go in webs and webs. No, that's
Ebbs
not
and
the
flows?
right word. There you go.
Ups and downs. Yep.
Yeah. But a huge step was recognizing that that's what the animal was that I was dealing with. And, there's so many layers to it for moms who are dealing with that. I think what I would say, first of all, is that everybody has something. If you're a mom and you're listening to this and you've been oppressed by fear and, depression, anxiety, it can feel very isolating, and you can feel like you're the only one that doesn't feel normal. And that's not true. And, there was a moment where I was sitting in my bathroom. This was probably 7 years ago, just overwhelmed with depression and anxiety, really, and wondering how the Lord could bring something good out of that. And I think He has, by helping me to tell other moms that they're not alone. But they do need to get help. And for me, that looked like talking to a medical doctor and a counselor, and also becoming real with friends in my actual life who, I'll be honest with you, just today, I have my things that I worry about, and I have a prayer triad, 2 girls from my church that we meet every other week, and we are real with each other, and it's a specific time that we hold each other accountable. And I reached out to them today and just had to confess, how I believe that the lies that Satan has been telling me, and just kind of said, I need you guys to tell me the truth. And so I think we need those things. Whatever you're facing, you need real life people who actually know you, who are holding your feet to the fire, and sometimes professional help. So I talk with a lot of moms who are like, I'm so stressed and so worried and blah, blah, blah. And really the first thing that I say is, you need to seek to have professional help.
And there's no shame in that. If it's gotten
to that point. No. And I think we've gotten better as a culture at eliminating some of that stigma. But it can still feel very scary to take that first step.
Yes.
I'm listening to your story. I have a grandchild and a half. I have a daughter. I have an 18-month-old grandson, and my daughter is due in August with number 2. I've seen a little life. I've raised 3 kids. I had 2 foster boys. I've been through some of life. I've experienced enough of life to know that what you're describing as a mom in your book is normal and a healthy part of the family life that we're all called to walk through as parents. And I'm really glad that you're taking the time to be transparent and honest with those that are listening, because I don't think that the church can afford too many more fake books. This idea that there's a checklist that if you do these 3 things, your life will be great. Or if you do just as I did with my kids, then your kids will turn out the same way. Instead, I see that you are saying these are hard-won things that I've learned in the battle with my own faith, with my own family, that God showed up and helped me with. And
well, I couldn't have said it better than that.
Because what you're showing us, and what I think your book really will provide for the reader, is strategies to be a better mom and to survive this in a way that you don't regret it. So you're looking back and go, I actually got through this okay, and I enjoyed it, and I have a relationship with my Lord and my kids that's good.
Well, that's my goal. You're right. And there are a lot of tips. At the end, there's like 200 different ideas, whatever. But I realize that people don't need tips as much as they need somebody to say, this is hard, but it's worth it. So
Right.
Keep at it.
Well said.
It is well said. And it would reflect you and I's philosophy as fathers, because we've messed up so much as dads. I mean, the whole brilliantly brave thing is tongue in cheek. We've never felt brilliant or brave as parents.
Right.
And so I think for the mother, the father who's listening, the single parent, the blended family, whoever is on the other side of this mic, we just want to encourage you, and I'm speaking for Robert, and I'm also speaking for Jessica, I think, that this is worth fighting for. It is worth getting through, and you're going to do great because God's going to be with you in it. So,
absolutely.
Any last thoughts, Jessica, that you want to share with our audience?
No, I mean, you've done such a wonderful job of summarizing what I would hope and dream would come out of this. And that's kind of how I ended the book. I told this funny story about my daughter going to Sunday school and just totally messing up the story of Daniel in the lion's den. And my husband and I are like, well, we failed. We've taught her nothing. But just the reminder that we can't do this parenting thing right. And that's kind of the whole point. Mm-hmm. Jesus died because we weren't all of the things. And so just clinging to him and knowing that through our failures, he's so gracious. And I would hope that that's what people would get reading the book, the encouragement that you don't have to be perfect, but we have a perfect Father.
That's great. Give us some, how do people get in touch with you or find out more about the book? You have a website?
Thank you. Yes. Well, the book is on Amazon and wherever books are sold, Memory Making Mom. They can also go to memorymakingmom.com, and I'd love to have them follow me on Instagram. I'm jessica.smart. Two T's in Smart.
2 T's.
Extra smart.
Awesome. We'll definitely have those links on our show notes as well for this podcast, and information about Jessica and her ministry and being a mom and all the cool stuff you're doing. I am so grateful that you are being an authentic representation of what a Christian mom should be. So thank you for sharing that with our audience.
Thanks for spending time with us today.
Thank you for letting me come on.
Awesome. God bless you.
Brad, you know I'm a foodie, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, I want to tell you about this awesome coffee experience. It's called CJ's Coffee Culture and Community. It is a faith-run coffee culture, and the thing that's really cool about this is that they roast their own beans, they have delicious coffees, and they have 2 brick and mortar, so 2 coffee bars, as well as a virtual location at cjscoffeecafe.com. Here's the cool thing. They ship their beans, they ship their coffee anywhere in the world, so you don't just have to be in Texas to enjoy it. CJ's Coffee Culture and Community.
Awesome. Robert, I love it. I love authenticity. It's like my favoritist.
It's your favoritist. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's not the thing is you can tell when somebody's just
She had 2 kids walking in the shop. It was awesome.
I prefer that actually.
She's a homeschooler and she meant it.
She's sitting on the floor like that's fantastic. There's something.
She's in her bathroom.
We didn't need to say that.
Well, you can see the tile. I mean, it's not too difficult.
The point is that I think that's a good representation. For so long, the church has perpetuated. I've perpetuated this idea you got to have it all together and pristine before you put it out there. And I love the fact that she was I'm just going to put it out there the way it is. And so I encourage you guys to go get this book and because it's a great reminder for us to be deliberate about the things that we do every day to create memories, traditions, rituals, whatever you want to call it, that our kids will carry into another generation. It's a way for us to live forward for generations to come.
You know what I love the most? She said, today, I had to call my friends.
Mm-hmm.
I'm struggling with anxiety today. It wasn't some reference that's vague. She's like, I'm in this
just today. I had to do it, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I respect that so much and compliment her on that transparency. I know there are moms listening right now who are struggling with anxiety today.
That's right.
And as she said, moms have layers of worry, not just worry. They have
just
layers.
Know that you're not alone.
Yeah, and pick up this book. I think tips are good.
Yeah.
Like I need tips. I can't think of that stuff. I mean, I need prompted to think about how I can engage my kids and
And just know that you're never going to end up perfect. That's not the point.
Yeah.
The point is that we stay dependent.
So refreshing, so encouraging. Please take a moment and check out her stuff at memorymakingmom.com.
And go ahead and click that subscribe button on your podcast device, and so we can stay in touch with you. We really appreciate you taking time. We know there's a lot of choices out there for things to listen to, so we're honored that you would spend time with us for this 30 minutes, and look forward to being here again next week.
Be encouraged, parents. You are not alone. In Paul's letter to his son in the faith, Timothy, he writes, "But I am not ashamed, for I know whom I have believed, and I am convinced that he is able to guard until that day what has been entrusted to me." Brilliantly Brave Parenting wants to be an encouragement and support that parents can rely on. Would you consider liking us and sharing us with a friend? As a part of the Tween Gospel Alliance, we are a nonprofit organization dependent on the support of friends like you. Thanks for stopping by. We'll be right here next week.
You know, Robert, every parent, every pastor is looking for resources that are new and insightful for their kids.
So true. So where do we go?
Well, with the advent of iShineLive.com, we have a web store. And in that web store, we've got resources.
Like what?
We've got resources like Bibles. We've got devotionals. We even have journals for kids.
Do you have music?
We do have music.
And video?
Absolutely.
Wow.
And everything's been designed for the preteen and tween in your life.
Who needs Amazon? iShineLive.com.
Check it out. We are excited to announce the Storms of Life study, Living Beyond Stressed Out and Overwhelmed.
It's a great subtitle, Living Beyond Stressed Out and Overwhelmed.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we know that students are stressed. And for parents and pastors, it's important to know what are the top 3 things that are really on the minds of our kids.
So, Brad, walk us through what they can expect from the Storms of Life.
This is an 8-week study. It has video insights. It has presentations from an actual youth retreat with junior high and high school students. These kids are going to learn about how their faith can help them fight back the stress that they're living with every day at school.
Check it out on iShineLive.com.